One day, I was lying in bed with a backache, and I started thinking about a dress that I used to wear. I drew a picture of it, and then I thought of another one. I started thinking about all these dresses, and when I was finished, I thought, these dresses tell a story. My brownie uniform. My mother was our brownie leader at Hunter College Elementary School on 69th Street between Lexington and Park. And even though she was our brownie leader, she didn't have a brownie leader's uniform. It was too expensive. A handmade brown dress coat with matching leggings and galoshes.
Gingy, put on your leggings.
I hated putting on my leggings, which were held up by suspenders, and I always threw a tantrum. No, I won't!
You have to put on your leggings if you're going to go play in the snow.
No, I don't!
Yes, you do. Do you know what will happen if you don't? You'll get polio.
You can't imagine all the ways there were to get polio. You could get it from swimming pools, or drinking water, or, most terrifyingly of all, swallowing a fly. Note the brightly colored mittens. My mother was always knitting mittens for my sister and me. We lived at 333 East 66th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue, on a first floor railroad front that faced the front. This green wool jersey dress with red cherries was embroidered for my sister. My sister's name was Blossom, but everyone called her Tootsie. Everyone called me Gingy because I was born with ginger-colored hair. My mother. My mother was a large, handsome woman who didn't wear fancy clothes, probably because we couldn't afford them. One day, my grandmother bought her a silver fox stove for her birthday, or Mother's Day, I can't remember which. She tried it on, but she never wore it after that day. She usually wore dark printed dresses and brown shoes with a buckle, and she wore glasses, but every time I draw her, I always forget to draw the glasses. She had the most beautiful face. She made this black and red taffeta outfit too, and I wore it to the ballet arts at Carnegie Hall on 56th Street. I liked it very much, but what I really wanted was a store-bought outfit. Sometimes I would take the crosstown bus to the ballet arts myself, and my mother would walk me to the bus.
Gingy, what's that smell?
It was perfume. It was taboo. I smelled like...
You smell like a bordella! You're too young to be wearing perfume.
Tootsie wears perfume.
Tootsie is 17. You are only 12 years old. You are still a baby.
I am not a baby!
And you smell so sweet without it. When you were younger, I just used to bury my head in your neck and inhale.
She used to just bury her head in my neck and inhale. The spring after my mother died, my father took me to B. Outland's department store to buy me a dress for my 13th birthday. We were both so sad. But when we got to the teen department, my father said, "This is my daughter, Gingy, and she needs something to wear for her 13th birthday, and we need help." Everyone rushed to help us because he was so handsome. He was 6 feet tall. I chose these two navy blue dresses, and I couldn't decide between them. I was in agony. My father said, "You don't have to decide, because you know what? I'm buying them both." He made them gift wrap it. This was back in the day when you didn't have to pay extra to have things gift wrapped. Each dress was very expensive, about $44, and I wore this one to my 13th birthday party. One day, my grandmother came to pick up my sister and me. She said that we would be staying with her and my grandpa and my Aunt Babby. I never saw my father again.
13,
my mother went to Montreal.
New York City.
And she brought me back not a twin set of adorable cashmere sweaters.
Not a CPO, which was a jacket that looked like a shirt made out of black wool, and I wanted one so badly.
Not a pair of Capizios.
Or bell-bottoms, which had just come in and everyone was wearing them, except me. But instead,
A pair of socks.
an outfit.
The loudest, ugliest, long socks.
No one was wearing outfits.
They were striped.
My whole class at Scarsdale High School was dressing like hippies, and she gave me an outfit
The
for
socks,
my birthday.
the socks were meant to be worn
Mid-thigh.
mid-thigh, she said. And they were French.
They're from Paris.
Cigarette-smoking, finger-thin Frenchies wore them.
They're très chic.
And I was not thin. Did I mention that? And they were striped.
Everyone is wearing them.
They are?
Brown plaid wool pants, an ivory silk blouse with a bow tie, and a crocheted vest just to pull it all together. I went ballistic. What is this? I can't believe you would buy me this. I hate this.
What's wrong with it?
Everything. What did I ever do to make you think I would ever even put this outfit on? It looks like something you would wear.
I only wish I could wear something like that. It's beautiful.
Outfit. Like anyone wears outfits.
At least try it on. You look adorable.
I do not. I'm taking it back.
You can't take it back.
Why not? Because it was on sale. You bought me a birthday present that was on sale? What if I didn't like it? Which I don't.
You are an ungrateful girl. You are a horrible, ungrateful girl.
My life is over just from wearing it inside the house.
Fine.
Fine.
I'll never buy you anything again.
Good. I don't care. The next year, for my birthday, she gave me a paperback copy of Between Parent and Child and a frozen Sara Lee banana cake because I didn't appreciate anything anyway. My mother.
Oh, honey, you look adorable.
Do I?
The French have the best sense of style.
So the next day I put on my new socks and got on my bike to go to school. And I felt very daring and trick-shaped for a quarter of a mile. Until I passed Michael Sherman, the boy I had been in love with for 2 whole years. And the second I saw him and he started laughing, I knew it was all wrong. Mom had completely deceived me. She never had a clue about style. So of course, big laughs behind my back all day long. God, even one of my teachers said something. It was bad. And the worst thing was, when I told my mom, when I sobbed about how humiliated I was, she thought it was funny.
Honey, you know if you wear it tomorrow, it'll start a trend. That's how trends start, you know.
My mother.
Don't wear stripes and prints together.
Loafers ruin your feet.
Stop tugging at your crotch, Samantha.
If you wear a girdle, it'll ruin your stomach muscles.
Always wear clean underpants in case you die in a car accident.
You never wear that dress. Do you know how much I paid for it?
Never buy a red coat.
I saw your friend Stephanie at the mall. Is she wearing the blouse I bought you?
Go right back upstairs and take that off.
Nice Jewish girls don't get their ears pierced.
You'd be so pretty if you
Lost weight.
gained weight.
Didn't make faces.
Fixed your nose.
Cut your hair.
Combed your hair.
Washed your hair.
Kept your hair out of your eyes.
Sit up straight.
Ate fruit.
Put on a little lipstick.
Took off all that makeup.
Aw, honey, you look so beautiful. Just looking at you, I'm gonna cry.
My little baby's all grown up.
You're so pretty.
Do you know how pretty you are? You're pretty enough for all normal purposes.
Is that what you're wearing?
Are you wearing that deliberately to annoy me?
Never wear white before Memorial Day.
Never wear white after Labor Day. Never wear white.
You're much too young to wear black.
Never wear black pants with a white shirt or you'll look like the caterer's help.
Never wear velvet before Rosh Hashanah.
What did you do to your hair?
Is that a tattoo?
If you wear that, you're going to be sent home for breaking the dress code.
Take that off. You look like a slut.
You look like a prostitute.
You look like a hippie.
You look like a bag lady.
You look like a waitress in a Hungarian restaurant.
I don't understand. You could look so pretty if you just tried.
I don't know why I buy you things.
A tiara? You want a tiara? When are you going to wear a tiara?
Your bra strap is showing. What do you mean it's supposed to show? If I could draw, I would draw you the dress my mother gave me when I was just 5 years old. It was my favorite dress ever. It was charcoal gray, and it had long sleeves and a big pilgrim collar with a bow in the center and lace cuffs. A few months after my mother gave me this dress, my father, who was a doctor, sent my mother away to a mental hospital, moved his nurse into our house, divorced my mother, and married the nurse. We had a cleaning lady who would come in about every once a week, and she had a daughter a little younger than me. My stepmother used to give her my hand-me-downs. One day, I couldn't find my beautiful dress. I asked my stepmother if she'd seen it. "It'll turn up," she told me. A few weeks later, I went to school, and during recess, I found my dress on the cleaning lady's daughter. I couldn't believe it. I ran up to her screaming, "That's my dress! That's my dress! That's my dress!" over and over until the recess monitor pulled us apart. The little girl stood there, shaking and crying. And I stood there, shaking and crying, holding my bow in my fist. I wasn't punished because the school understood. But I remember wishing they had punished me. Shame on me. And my stepmother too.
We lived with my grandparents in a brownstone building at 743 Madison Avenue. They lived above a stationery store. It was on the first floor, and we lived just above the store. My grandmother had long, beautiful silver hair that she tied onto the top of her head into a bun. She had 2 cures: hot tea for anything wrong inside the body, and Vaseline for anything wrong outside the body. Here's what she always said: "It's as easy to fall in love with a rich man as a poor man." Which isn't true. Why do people say that? It's not true. My Aunt Babby had enormous breasts. Once I saw her naked, and it scared me to death. My best friend, Dora. Dora had a beauty mark at the end of her eyebrow. She lived at 22 East 66th Street, right across the street from me. And we used to yell things at the men that would walk past, like, "Hey, mister, you're going bald!" We thought we were hilarious. Dora's mother was a dress designer for rich ladies. And every time Dora would go out someplace special, she'd say, "Take Gingy along." She let me this peach satin strapless gown for when we went to the Choate School Boys in Connecticut for the weekend. The preppy girls gave us mean looks and called us whores. Probably because we spent the entire weekend necking with our dates. I wore this peach wool jersey dress when I went out with Walter Fenton. I was madly in love with Walter Fenton. Every time we'd go out, he begged me to go all the way. Finally, at a fraternity party at Dartmouth Winter Carnival, he told me that he just couldn't see me anymore because necking was just too painful. He went off to have a beer and left me sitting on the floor, alone. After a while, he came back and said that he would take me back to the place where I was supposed to sleep. I said I didn't want to. I wanted to spend the night with him. He said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I'm sure." So, we did it. And that's when I found out that in sex, once you do something, you gotta keep doing it. By the end of my freshman year, I thought I was pregnant. I didn't know what to do, so I went to my sociology professor at Simmons for advice. He taught a class in marriage and family, and I thought he could help me. Turned out, I wasn't pregnant. But by then, Walter had vanished.
That is such a painful subject.
My first bra. I can't even talk about my first bra.
May Company.
Macy's.
Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale's at a bra sale, and I was almost trampled to death.
My father took me. I still can't talk about it.
Bras, breasts, the whole works. This is a very painful subject.
I was always trying on bras.
My aunt had this really big one and I used to wear on my head.
My first bra was like 2 triangles. I got it at Jordan Marsh. It was awful because there was some really cute guy there shopping with his girlfriend, and my mom kept saying, "Julia, why are you in that section? The train bras are over here."
My mother said, if you don't wear a bra, you'll get pendulum breasts.
It was a 28 AA bra. Tiny, but not tiny enough. And when I put it on, it felt like 2 empty puffs on my chest. The saleswoman said, "Lean over." So I did, hoping that my breasts would magically tumble out of my body and into the bra. But they didn't.
I bought a blow-up bra. It had 2 plastic balloons and a plastic straw insert that you put into the balloons to blow up to the size that you wanted. One day I was talking to this guy I had a crush on, and one side collapsed right before his eyes.
It was something about your dad.
Couldn't run around the house naked anymore.
You couldn't sit on your daddy's lap.
The breasts, the bra, the divide.
My mother's friend was working at Bloomingdale's when I was in college, and she recommended the Minimizer. It's a spandex bra that flattens you about a cup size, which was great for me because I was horribly self-conscious about my breasts. The only problem was that it kind of gave you a mono-boob look. One day I went into the veterinary clinic where I was working as a technician, and there was this crazy Indian vet substitute. And he said, "Please don't take this personally. This is only for your own good, but I have to say, there is something horribly wrong with your boob." I said, "I don't know you, and I don't appreciate your comment about my boobs. They are none of your business." First time I ever stood up for my boobs.
So I was given this cashmere top that needs a bra to make it work. So I go to the town shop on Broadway and ask the saleswoman Marvelyn my size. And she immediately tells me I'm wrong. "All you girls think that you should be going up in inches when you really should be going up in cups." I am deposited into something that is perhaps a dressing room, but is more like a utility closet with a mirror and a thing of paper towels. I am strapped into my strapless bra. The curtain is parted like the Red Sea, and my linebacker saleswoman commands me to bend over. She takes me and my strapless bra and hoists it until I can feel the blood changing directions in my body. She cups my breasts and shifts them. She then invites all the other saleswomen to come in and look at me. Everyone cheers. I look in the mirror. I realize that I am a new woman, and it took a Marvelyn feeling me up in the utility closet to make me this way.
My junior prom dress was powder blue and white. It was ribbed with tiny ribs and a white waistband and a white band around the bottom, kind of like Cinderella, with a big powder blue bow. The problem was my date. He rang the bell and I opened the door, and there he was, in a powder blue tuxedo with a white frilly shirt and a powder blue bow tie. We matched. It was totally mortifying. I didn't really like him, but I was sort of the last to be asked to prom. Not the very last, but one of the last. So I didn't really have a choice in my date or in what he wore, and I had a really horrible time at prom, and afterwards we went to the field and tipped cows. My senior prom was completely different. My dress was short and black. It was in that sort of Madonna 1980s style, her like a virgin phase, tied on top, and then I went out in a black net poof and black lace gloves. My date was also short, but dark and handsome, and afterwards we went and drank champagne and made out in the back of his car, and it was great. But here's the thing. I've never really known for sure which one of those two people I am. The one that almost doesn't get asked to prom at all, or the one that gets to go with a really cute guy. Every time I thought I knew which one I was, I turned out to be the other, which is one reason why I think I got married, to like end the confusion. Any American woman under the age of 30 who says she's never dressed as Madonna is either lying or Amish.
Madonna represents sexual freedom,
Third wave feminism.
Individuality.
And fabulous fashion.
Last year we all dressed as Madonna from 4 different stages of her career.
I was desperately seeking Susan Madonna. I wore a black t-shirt cut to reveal my stomach, silver necklaces tied in narrows, a big black skirt, and red Converse sneakers.
I was blonde and Mission Tour Madonna. Tight black leotard, fishnet stockings, a hat set, and this was really brilliant. 2 paper party hats faded black to create a big black pointy bra.
I was Express Yourself Madonna. I wore a men's suit, rocked a red lip, and cut slashes in the suit jacket so my bra showed through.
I was Patty Hearst Madonna. I wore that cute little hat Patty wore when she robbed the bank, a trench coat, and a fake gun strapped across my chest.
Anyways, these costumes, and a whole lot of cosmos, totally freed us.
I made out with a girl.
Oh my god, I made out with a bunch of gay men.
I practically got into a fist fight with a whole other group of girls, all dressed as
Madonna!
And whenever Vogue came on, we totally hit the floor.
Vogue, 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 Vogue.
I felt so hot in my game sweater. I was 15, and it was the first thing I had tailor-made for me. Well, the only thing ever, now that I think about it. I joined this gang called the Latin Chancellors. We were the chicas of the Latin Chancellors. The guys hung out near the corner of 27 and Normal Streets in Chicago. No, but the sweater was hip length and back to the bone. Black with royal blue trim around the collars and on the pockets. But the best thing about it was the emblem. A big, puffy rendition of some long time ago coat of arms that had been designed by Lemons, the warlord of the Latin Chancellors. The emblem was sewn onto the sweater, close to your heart. I wore my gang sweater with black stretch bands, the kind of the strap that goes under your feet. I knew I looked cool in the outfit. So cool that the first day I wore it, Lemons asked to walk me home. I could barely breathe. I was in heaven walking through the dark Chicago streets with Lemons at my side. I was thrilled when he pulled me into a doorway and began kissing me. When he unbuttoned my sweater, I shuddered. When he put his hand under my blouse, right under the envelope he had designed, I figured it was meant to be. Lemons never spoke to me again. He fell madly in love with Irma, the president of the Latin Caprice. Their sweaters were black with purple trim. Those were cool.
I got my first pair of boots when I was 14. They were suede, and they were my answer to my need to be identified as a brooding, wounded, but potentially artistically brilliant subspecies of female, with practically no genetic relation with my miserable, screaming family. My dog Corky, however, confused them with an entree and ate a hole through one of them. So, I took a bus to Sausalito and bought a new pair. They were an olive green leather that came up above my knees. By the time I got to Berkeley, where I was an art student, I was all boots all the time. Freshman year, I had 2 pairs. One was a golden brown, the other was a deeper brown. And I paired them with really, really short skirts. I thought my boots gave me a kind of mysterious bohemian charisma. Tough but tender, rugged but sensuous, poetic but unself-conscious, like Joni Mitchell. It was a really happy time in my life. But then, one night, when I was sleeping, a guy broke into my apartment and raped me. They never caught him. I have no reason at all to believe that he'd seen me before that night, but after the rape, when I walked down the streets of Berkeley in my boots and short skirts, it suddenly felt like everyone was staring at me. So, I gave up my short skirts to leave it go. But not the boots. I love the boots. What do you think?
Does this go in or out?
What is this length?
Can't even zip it up.
The only reason I can't zip this up is because I have my period.
Oh my god. I'm a size.
This will fit if I lose 5 pounds.
This will fit if I lose 10 pounds.
This will fit if I get a lipo.
This doesn't fit.
Do you think this can be let out?
This doesn't fit now, but I always lose weight in May.
I don't know who this is cut for.
But I'm a 6. I've always been a 6.
Does this come in an 8?
Does this come in a 12?
Does this come in a 14/16?
Does this make me look pregnant?
I can't decide.
What color is this?
I can't wear gray.
Yellow makes me look sick.
I look so pale and green.
It's so red.
It's so red.
Is this black or navy blue?
I can't buy another black turtleneck sweater.
I can't buy another white t-shirt.
I look like my mother.
What am I supposed to wear with this?
Does this match?
If you're not going to buy that, could I try it on?
Does this run a small?
Is there something wrong with the lighting here?
Is this mirror, like, distorted?
It doesn't fit.
Can't wear anything without sleeves.
I can't wear anything low cut.
My arms. What happened to my arms?
If my elbow space were, I'd kill myself.
My butt is falling.
Is my butt falling?
Oh my god, my butt fell.
Does this make me look fat?
Tell me the truth.
I can't decide.
I can't decide.
Can't decide.
I can't decide.
Last summer, I lost my favorite shirt. Or to be more accurate, my shirt vanished into thin air. When I got home from the summer and I unpacked my bags, the shirt just never materialized. I've replayed the sequence of events in my mind several times, and I have theories about what happened to it, but the fact remains that the shirt just ceased to be. The really sad part was this came at the end of the summer when I realized the shirt was the perfect shirt. It was flattering. I always felt pretty in it. I liked the color and the cut. It went with all of my favorite pants. It was casual and dressed down, but not crappy and falling apart. It was comfortable. When I realized I lost a shirt, I couldn't think of anything else I owned that served remotely the same function, and I felt cheated out of something truly rare and precious. I realized that I sound like I'm talking about death or lost love. Maybe I am. It's probably worth noting that my relationship with my boyfriend was coming to an end at just the same time I lost the shirt. Although I could have promised you that at the time I was not transferring my feelings about the loss of my boyfriend onto the shirt, but was actually mourning the loss of the shirt itself. The main lesson to be learned came from the purchase of 8 different shirts, each with some likeness to the lost shirt, whether it be in color, cut, material, casualness. But none of them in any way could replace the lost shirt, and I eventually had to resolve to be thankful for the time I had with it and move on. At least I know what I'm looking for.
Pink satin princess-style dress I wore for my marriage to Harry M. Johnson. I was 20 and Harry was 37. Harry was my sociology professor at Simmons. We got married at his best friend's house in Dobbs Ferry. There was no food, only champagne and wedding cake. My grandmother and Aunt Babby came to the wedding, but my grandfather wouldn't come. He said that Harry was too old for me, and besides, he was Catholic. Here are the words that my grandmother uttered to me on this occasion. "You're killing me!" One day, I was walking down the front steps of our apartment, and there was Walter Fenton. He had joined the Navy. He looked handsomer than ever in his uniform. "Gingy," he said, "why'd you do it?" He kissed my cheek, and then my hand, and then walked away. Now, I wish I could tell you that nothing good ever happened to Walter Fenton, and that he ended up becoming a used car salesman. But the truth is, he won a Pulitzer Prize. The prick. Iridescent brocade, Chinese-style dinner dress I bought in Cambridge for a New Year's Eve party. Harry convinced me to buy it, even though it was expensive. He said it showed off my arms. He thought my arms were pretty. The party was at the house of Harry's friends, Penny and Eckie. They were married, and I idolized Penny. She carried a diaphragm in her purse, which was very cool, but strange. I wondered about it all the time, because isn't the whole point of getting married that you don't have to carry the diaphragm in your purse? Anyway, it was midnight, and I was very upset because I couldn't find Harry. And then I saw him. He was kissing Penny. "Harry!" I said. And you know what he said? Of course you know what he said. He said, "It's not what you think." But it was exactly what I thought. So that was that. I was 21 years old, and I was the youngest divorced person in America, except for Elizabeth Taylor.
I always wanted a pair of black cowboy boots. I thought they made me sort of rangy and taller. Like a girl named Slim, a guy could really go for. So one day I wandered into Walker's Western Wear and bought a pair of Nakonas. Beautiful stitching on the side, chic kicker pointy toes. $250. The salesman said it'd be good for my arches. I have terrible arches.
She is obsessed with her arches.
My older sister.
She's always been obsessed with her arches.
My younger sister. A month later, I met a guy I fell in love with. Chase. He owned 6 pairs of black cowboy boots. Not Nakonas, but still really nice Tony Lamas. As fate would have it, he turned out to be the same sexy guy that just seen standing against a door column at a party at the architecture school.
It was Halloween. Don't leave that out.
He had a chainsaw through his torso.
Oh, how could she resist him?
She couldn't.
He was a sort of freckly prepster, and since I was freckly too, there we were, meant to be, with our freckles and black boots, skinny freckly arms, all entangled.
She followed him to Seattle.
He invited me.
No, he did not.
One of the reasons he wanted to move west was to get away from his incredibly dysfunctional family. Although, if I ever said his family was dysfunctional, he'd say, "Hold it right there. My family's not dysfunctional. If you want to talk about dysfunctional families, how about your family?"
What about your sisters?
What about your sisters who hate me?
Which we did.
Because of the way he treated her.
Although she let him, he couldn't have treated her that way if she hadn't let him.
We discussed it for hours.
Behind her back.
What a jerk he was.
Why was she with him?
Why was she in love with him? Where was I?
His incredibly dysfunctional family.
Right. So he said,
If you're going to insult my family, I'm out of here.
And she said,
"Don't go. Please don't go. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I love you."
I love you. I love you. He was always threatening to leave.
and every time she said,
"Don't go. Please don't go. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I love you."
So, guess what? He stayed.
After a while, I began suspecting that he was actually in love with his family and not with me at all. He'd go home without me bearing gifts I'd help him shop for, and he'd come back with old shelling sweaters that reminded him of his childhood. But what I really wanted was for him to come back with the realization that he missed me horribly. He couldn't live without me. He wanted to marry me. He loved me, or failing any of that, at least that someday he wanted me to meet his goddamn parents. Which I finally told him in those very words.
and he said,
If you're going to insult my family, I'm out of here.
and she said,
Fine.
"Isn't that amazing?"
Fine. Go. Split. Who cares? And take those ugliest boots with you.
And he left.
Just like that.
After 7 years and 7 horrible Christmases. At which point he owned about 12 pairs of Tony Lamas. All of them with holes, and I still had my well-oiled, well-cared-for pair of Nakonas. He kept his old Shetland sweaters and his childhood memories, and I left town and found a good shrink in Los Angeles.
Where we live.
I have nothing to wear.
Nothing.
Nothing fits.
Nothing fits me. Why did I buy this piece of shit?
Where is it?
Why can't I find anything in my closet?
I hate my clothes.
Why do I buy such terrible clothes?
I gotta clean out my closet.
I absolutely have to.
Oh, I should throw this out. After all, I haven't worn it in 2 years.
3 years.
5 years.
I can't do it.
My mother bought me this. Who does she think I am?
I can't find my black turtleneck sweater.
Where is it?
I can't find it.
Now I'm sweating.
Why didn't I hang this up? Now I have to iron it.
I have nothing to wear.
Who bought this?
Who did I think I was when I bought this?
I totally forgot I bought this.
Do men ever go through this? Choosing the sweater, choosing the sweater, choosing the sweater, choosing the sweater?
Of course they don't.
What's wrong with me?
Where is it?
I have nothing to wear.
I have nothing to wear.
I have nothing to wear.
Nothing.
After I got divorced, I moved back to New York with Dora, who was studying to become an actress.
Gingy, you are the second youngest divorced person in the world, and you must act as if you couldn't care less.
I had no idea what Dora meant.
What I mean is, you can't go and marry the next person you go out with just so you can stop being divorced.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would I do that?
Are you listening to me, Gingy?
Yellow ochre sack dress Dora lent me when she fixed me up with Al Beckerman.
Now, Al is very sweet, but don't marry him. Are you listening to me, Gingy?
Floral print peak dress I bought at a very tiny store in New Canaan, Connecticut, for my marriage to Al Beckerman. My grandmother and Aunt Babby came to the wedding, but my grandfather still wouldn't come, probably because he was mad at me for marrying Harry. Al was so sweet. He's so sweet, I said to Dora, and she said,
Yes, but are you sure?
he'll take care of me.
But are you sure?
We both want a big family.
How big, Gingy?
Black and red print maternity dress I wore when I was first pregnant with Isabel. And then when I was pregnant with Joe, Julie, Lily, Michael, and David. David died when he was 18 months old to a 48-hour intestinal virus. Your son has expired, they said when they called from the hospital. Your son has expired. After David died, everything changed. I bought this Spiegel beige wool pantsuit as an interview outfit. I figured that now that the kids were off in school, I wanted to go to work. I got a job at an ad agency. One day, I walked into my office and there was a man sitting at my desk. He had a glue stick in his hand. "Do you know how to open this goddamn thing?" he said. And it was as though Cupid had struck an arrow right through my heart. "Shit," he said, and then left. Later that day, I found out that his name was Stanley. So there it was. First Walter, then Al, then Harry, and then Stanley. I loved this wrap Diane von Furstenberg dress. It was stylish and comfortable and still fit if you gained a few pounds. It was the dress I wore when I told Al I couldn't stay married to him anymore because I'd fallen in love with Stanley. It wasn't really Al's fault. Al was so sweet.
There was, for a very brief moment in time, the paper dress. And I had one. I got it at Paraphernalia, which was Betsy Johnson's first store on 67th and Madison. It was sort of grayish plaid sheath. I wore it to brunch at my cousin Marty's. He was an advertising executive who had recently married Steffi, whom he put through medical school. And then she ran off with the doctor. Anyway, they were very impressed with how au courant I was. Then, I wore it to Paula's sister Janet's and her new husband Earl's, who invited me and Paula to dinner at their newly-wed apartment, which contained their newly upholstered dining room chairs. In the middle of dinner, I got my period suddenly and violently. And when we all stood up, there was a blood stain on one of the prized new chairs. For history, I should say that the dress was completely intact, just wet. Anyway, when we all stood up, Janet said something like, "What?" And I said something like, "What?" As though nothing had happened at all. I then left the room for the bathroom. God knows what the three of them did because I never acknowledged to anyone that anything out of the ordinary had happened. Although I will remember this on my deathbed.
I started getting fat when I was 12.
I was always thin.
By the time I was 15, I was a size 20.
Well, not just thin, skinny, which would not have mattered if I had breasts, but I didn't.
If I eat a carrot, I gain 3 pounds.
Mary, is that you in the refrigerator?
It was. My mother always said,
Mary, you have such a pretty face, and you'd be so much prettier if you just lost weight.
my mother was the most constant human being alive. But she gave up on me clothes-wise. She would send me off in a taxi, alone, to the store called Jane Angle, which was on the southeast corner of 79th and Madison. They'd bring me clothes, and I'd try them on, and there was a dressing room with 3 mirrors. No matter which way I looked, there I was, as big as a house. There's never been a good time to be fat, but this was a particularly bad time on the account of Audrey Hepburn.
My shrink said,
If you ever got happy, you would gain weight.
and she also said,
This is all because of your mother?
my mother? Then because of my mother.
Yes.
Couldn't it be my metabolism?
No.
But I married Kenny. I managed to diet down to 152 pounds, which was rail thin for me. But Kenny didn't care what I weighed because he was gay, and he would have married me if I had 2 heads.
I have a picture of me and my first husband together on a bench at Washington Square Park. I was wearing my lime green winter coat, so short, with a plaid scarf, and I look really happy. But I was never happy with David. Whenever I see that picture, I just think how photos lie and how many marriages are just performances.
When I married Kenny, I wore my mother's wedding dress, which fit with some adjustments. She got it at Bergdorf's. It was an absolutely gorgeous dress. Plain long sleeves with lace inserts that came to a point, and a great long train. Just as I was getting into the dress before the wedding, the dressmaker pricked her finger on a needle, just like in Sleeping Beauty, and got blood on the dress. My mother said,
I know how to fix that.
and she did. After all, she was the most competent human being alive. She got an ice cube and out came the blood stain. I wore the dress to my wedding, my sister wore it to hers, my eldest daughter wore it to her wedding, until finally it got down to my youngest daughter, Jenny, who said, "No way in hell I'm wearing that bad luck dress." So, we had a wedding dress designed for her by Vera Wynn, and Jenny got divorced too. We all got divorced, everyone in my entire family, except for my mother, who stayed married to my father for 56 miserable years.
After I was married to David for 3 years, I began to endlessly fantasize about tragically and miraculously losing him. Every time he was 5 minutes late, a car accident. Every time he coughed, tuberculosis. Every time we went to a party, I hoped that he would go into the kitchen and kiss one of my friends and run off with her. But none of them really liked him.
You're ambivalent.
Ambivalent? I was not remotely ambivalent.
You are ambivalent. You're really in love with him. You're just too neurotic to see it.
I was erotic, but not because I didn't love my husband. Because I was pretending to love my husband when I didn't. After 6 years, David and I split up, but not before spending an entire week talking nonstop. We even ended up talking naked, which you might imagine meant that we finally spoke the truth, but we did not.
Why were you naked?
Because we just had sex. We were lying there, and he was telling me he wanted to stop writing. I'd hardly written anything at that point. I'd written one book, The Adventurous Crocheter. And I remember while he was talking to me, I recited the beginning of it to myself so I wouldn't hear anything he was saying. It went like, there is no wrong way to crochet. There are easier ways and harder ways, but there is no wrong way to crochet. So, David and I got divorced. And I left my shrink. I mean, go to hell.
When I married Henry, I wore my mother's navy blue suit. I looked like a 110 Italian war widow, but I lived happily ever after.
When I married Jerry, I wear a shocking pink Mexican cotton skirt and a white Mexican blouse, off the shoulder. It wasn't the sort of thing that looked good on a skinny person, but I gained 5 pounds. And we all know what a big deal 5 pounds is.
I look gorgeous in high heels. Everyone looks gorgeous in high heels, but my feet hurt. My little toe is always crushed. I had a bunion. I was in so much pain, I couldn't think. I had to choose heels or think. I chose think. I bought this pair of chic flat shoes. I made a lot of mistakes. I bought this pair of turquoise blue Marc Jacob ballet flats that the salesman talked me into because he said they had toe cleavage. I'd never even heard of toe cleavage. Well, turns out ballet flats are just as uncomfortable as heels, except they don't do that amazing thing with your legs. Fortunately, during that time, I met this unbelievably stylish woman who wore Birkenstocks. When I was in high school, I was Doc Martens girl, and Birkenstocks symbolized everything I didn't want to be. The girls who wore them were incredibly uncool, and they had big dirty toes that stuck out at the ends. You absolutely could not be friends with somebody who wore Birkenstocks. But this stylish woman wore her Birks with baggy cords and a comme des garçons sleeveless shirt. It was a revelation! The next day, I went out, got a pedicure, and bought a pair, dark brown standard style. And that's when I realized that Birkenstocks were the punkest shoes a girl could wear. They were a statement. Hey, look, these are my feet. We all have them, okay? My husband had a slightly different opinion. He hated my Birkenstocks. He said that I looked like a troll from the Middle Earth. Oh, and one time when the Yankees were in the playoffs, he made me take off my Birkenstocks every time I walked into the same room as the TV so I couldn't hex the team. After we'd split up, you'd think I would have stuck with my Birkenstocks. But no, I went right back to heels. Ugh, pain. I look gorgeous, but I can't think. I had to choose heels or think. I chose heels.
I just want to say, jumpsuits. Can we for 1 second talk about what a nightmare it is to go to the bathroom in a jumpsuit?
I just want to say that I personally have a rule against sleeveless tank top sweaters. I don't understand them. Are you hot or are you cold? Make up your mind.
I just want to say, when you start wearing I mean Fisher, you might as well just say, I give up.
I just want to say, I hate my purse. I absolutely hate it. If you're one of those women who think there's something great about purses, then don't even bother listening because I have nothing to say to you. This is for women who hate purses, who are bad at purses, who understand that their purse is a reflection of negligent housekeeping, hopeless disorganization, the chronic inability to throw anything away, and an ongoing failure to handle the obligations of a difficult and demanding accessory. The obligation, for example, that it should in some way match what you're wearing. This is for women who understand that their purse is a morass of loose Tic Tacs, Advils, lipsticks without tops, boarding passes from long-forgotten airplane trips, hotel keys from God knows what hotel, leaky ballpoint pens, Kleenexes that have or have not been used, but there's no way to be sure one way or another. This is for those of you who understand that, in short, your purse is in some absolutely horrible way you. I realized many years ago that I was no good at purses, and for quite a while I did without one. When I went out at night, I managed with only a lipstick, $20 bill, and a credit card tucked into my bra. But unfortunately, there were times where I had to leave the house with more than just the basics. So I bought an overcoat with large pockets. This, I realized, turned my coat into a purse. But it was still better than carrying a purse. Anything is better than carrying a purse. Because here's what happens when you buy a purse. You start pledging yourself to neatness. You start small. You start pledging yourself to neatness. You start by vowing that this time will be different. You start with your wallet and a few cosmetics. But within seconds, your purse has accumulated the debris of a lifetime. Your cosmetics have somehow fallen out of the shiny cosmetic bag. The coins have tumbled from the wallet. The cards are somewhere. Where? Where are they? There's a half-drunk bottle of water and a few snacks you saved just in case you found yourself starving and unaccountably craving a piece of cheese that tastes like plastic. Perhaps you could fit your shoes into your purse. Yes, by God, you can. Before you know it, everything you own is in your purse. You can flee the caustics with your purse. But when you open it up, you can't find a thing. Your purse is a big dark hole full of stuff you spent hours fishing around for. What's the solution? I tried spending quite a lot of money on a purse, the theory being that an expensive purse would inspire me to become a different person. But that didn't work. I also tried one of those Prada backpack purses, but I stuffed so much into it, it looked like a Sherpa. Then, one day I found myself in Paris with a friend who announced that her goal for the week was to buy a vintage Kelly bag. I'd never heard of a Kelly bag. She looked at me as though I'd spent a century asleep in a cave. She explained, a Kelly bag was an Hermes bag first made in the 1950s that Grace Kelly had made famous. Hence the name. It was a classic. She had heard that there was a dealer at the flea market that had several for sale. How much was it going to cost, I asked. I practically expired when she told me. About $6,000. Well, we went to the flea market and there was the purse. I didn't know what to say. It looked like something my mother would wear. It barely held anything and it held stiffly on her arm. I may not be good at purses, but I understand that any bag that hangs over your arm instead of over your shoulder immobilizes half your body and, more important, adds 10 years. Anyway, she bought her bag. It only cost $5,600. Thank God it was time for lunch. We all went out to a bistro where the Kelly bag was placed in the center of the table where it sat like a small shrine to his shopping victory. Then, outside, it began to rain. She hadn't had the Kelly bag waterproofed, and she would have to sit there all day and wait for the rain to end rather than expose the bag to a droplet of water. It crossed my mind that she and her Kelly bag might have to sit there forever. She would grow old, although her Kelly bag would not, and she and the bag would, like in some modern version of Lot's wife, metamorphose into a monument of what happens to people who care too much about purses. At that point, I gave up. I came back to New York and bought myself a purse. Well, it's not a purse exactly. It's a bag. It's definitely the best bag I've ever owned. It's yellow and blue, so it matches nothing, and therefore, on a deep level, matches everything. It's made of vinyl and is 100% waterproof. It's equally unattractive in all seasons of the year, and it costs next to nothing, $26. And I will never have to replace it because it seems to be completely indestructible. What's more, never having been in style, it can never go out of style. Although I do admit, on rare occasion, I'm forced to use a purse, one that I hate, but mainly I go everywhere with my yellow and blue vinyl bag. And everywhere I go, people say to me, I love that bag. Where did you get that bag? That is the greatest bag. The MetroCard bag. Buy one.
I never thought I would get married.
I'm not somebody who dreamed of my wedding from a young age. I did not have visions. I honestly just wanted a dress or patrol around it.
But a few months before my wedding, I saw an ad that said, wedding dress sample sale. So Saturday at 11 a.m., I'm standing with 40 other brides-to-be outside of a store called Brides-to-Be. They open the doors and stampede. Everyone's yelling, 8's over here, 12's over here, Mom, where are you? And just grabbing, elbows jabbing, purses swinging, and somehow I found myself with 15 other women inside of a dressing room with no curtain, stuck inside a wedding dress. And when I finally got a look at myself, I thought, who is this person?
I went to all the San Francisco department stores and tried on wide bridal dresses with satin tops and big fancy bottoms. It was like going back centuries and the layers felt fantastic. But I don't look good in white. So, no way.
So now I'm thinking, pants. Wide flowing pants, maybe silk. Although I saw a parachute fabric once that was beautiful.
My mom was totally involved.
My mother and I were hardly speaking.
We went to all of these boutiques where the people were just fashion freaks. And they got so excited that I was getting married that we got carried away and bought this dress. It was dark green. Right after, we went to see the rabbi to talk about the wedding, and my mother said, try it on for Rabbi Mendelssohn. So I went into the ladies' room and tried it on. I looked into the mirror, which wasn't easy because it was above the sink. I had to jump up and down, and then it hit me. I looked like a pine tree. I stuffed it back into the bag and realized, this is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard.
I've been dealing with my parents' homophobia since I was a young teenager. I thought they were going to get there, but when I told them I was getting married, they hit the roof. But my fiance's mother has been great. Right after we told her we were getting married, she came right over with an old plastic sandwich bag full of family rings. She said, I want you to pick the ring you want to get married in. Whatever ring you want, I'd like to give it to you. I picked out a plain band of rose gold that was my fiance's grandmother's. It was made in the 1880s. It's really beautiful and magical.
About this time, my mother went to see a Buddhist retreat in Napa.
Finally, one of my friends suggested we go to a tuxedo store.
She called me up from a dress store in Yountville, and she said, I have found your dress. I have found it. This is it. I'm kind of laughing at my mother, and my hopes aren't even up. She says, I'll be back Sunday.
I tried on tuxedo pants, and they were slinky and kind of great.
At 3 o'clock on Sunday, I get a call from my mother. It's me. I'm 3 hours away.
And a white frilly shirt that fit perfectly.
It's me again. I'm 2 hours away.
And then the saleswoman found me this vest with a daisy chain pattern.
Set your watch. I'm 5 minutes away from the exit.
Well, not daisies, just the chain part. Interlocking circles.
My mom was like bubbling over with excitement, and she took the dress out of the box. It was the most beautiful color. Eggplanty maroon.
So, okay, I didn't look like a bride, but I looked good.
I tried it on, and it was amazing. My mom literally starts screaming and running around in circles. She's so excited about the dress. She's so excited because she's the one who found it. She's so excited because I look so beautiful. I just felt completely at peace.
A few days later, my fiance's mother came over and we tried on our outfits for her. And she said we had to go together more, we had to match. So she found these button covers for the buttons on my vest. Eggplanty maroon. I, Lisa, take thee, Amanda, to be my partner in life. To love, honor, be faithful to, through good times and bad, as long as we both shall live.
I, Amanda, take thee, Lisa, to be my partner for life. To love, honor, be faithful to, through good times and bad, as long as we both shall live.
My mother kept saying to everyone, why'd they have to do this?
I could hear my mom sniffling right through the ceremony.
She even said it to Amanda's mom.
Why'd they have to do this? And my mother said, to honor the relationship.
Black.
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 Black. When did we start wearing black?
I can't remember.
I love black.
Sometimes I buy something that isn't black, and I put it on, and I am so sorry.
I'll take 3 in black.
I'll take 5 in black.
Do you have this in black?
Is this black?
Do you know if the other store has this in black?
What about the LA store? Do they have in black?
Are you sure you don't have this in black?
I went to a store the other day, and the saleswoman showed me this black sweater, and I said, I can't buy another black sweater.
You bought it, didn't you?
I bought it.
I feel sorry for people who live in like Phoenix or Dallas because people there have to wear like pink.
And what about all those women senators in their red suits?
And royal blue suits?
Turquoise.
Coral.
Magenta.
What's wrong with them?
Don't they get it?
Can we just stop pretending that anything is ever going to be the new black?
Black.
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 I'm going to teach you how to draw yourself. Start with 3 rectangles, one on top of the other. There's your suit. Add a collar or buttons or a belt. Add sleeves. If you can't draw hands, put them behind your back. An egg for a head. 2 lines make a neck like a swan. And if you can't draw eyes, close them. An L for nose, a W for mouth, curly or straight hair. Four lines make legs, and whatever for shoes. Now, my suit is black, so you'll just want to ink that in. And there you are. This suit's from Eileen Fisher. So, there. It's black, of course. These days I usually wear black. Black is chic, and they say it makes fashion choices so much easier. But who are we kidding? There are no fashion choices once you get to a certain age. I have to wear long sleeves because my arms have gone to hell. My neck, oh God, my neck. Some days I have to wind scarves around it and I look like Catherine Hepburn on the Golden Pond. I used to show a little bit of cleavage as a fallback, but now my cleavage looks like a peach pit. Someone once told me I could get Botox in my peach pit, but there are so many other parts of me that need Botox that my peach pit will just have to get in line. My waist is a faint and distant memory. When I go into a department store, it's like I'm a forgotten woman. Actually, when I was younger, there was a department store called the Forgotten Woman. And now I am that forgotten woman, and the store isn't even in business anymore. How ironic is that? The clothes that I used to be able to wear are in boxes. My granddaughter Allie loves them. When she comes over, I paint her fingernails and toenails bright red and let her go in the drawer where I keep all the awful shades of rouge, lipstick, and eyeshadow aggressive sales ladies convinced me into buying. Then she tries on my clothes and hats and shoes. I watch her look in the mirror. I watch her see how beautiful she is. I wonder if she'll remember any of this when she gets older. I wonder if she'll remember me. My grandmother, she'll say. My grandmother Gingy wore shapeless black clothing. Recently, Allie told me her favorite color is pink. So I thought maybe I'd try a pink scarf.
Come into the doctor's from work, so I was wearing a business suit and lipstick. I always wore lipstick, even during my surgery. When it was over, my lipstick was still perfect. The nurses were amazed. What kind of lipstick is this, they asked. Deep Scarlet by Aveda, I told them. But anyway, when the doctor first told me the news,
You have advanced stage invasive ductile carcinoma.
I looked to my brother. He was there with me for emotional support. He had on this great pair of faded Levi's and a V-neck sweater. He was only 21. And I thought, I can't die. I can't leave my brother. He still needs me. The woman who had breast cancer said,
When you go to the hospital, look fabulous. They can be mean to you. They can rob you of your identity. Put on an important piece of jewelry and always look your best.
my mother gave me this waffle cotton robe to wear over my surgical gown. It was short and glamorous, definitely more spa than surgical. When the surgeon came in to undress my mastectomy wound and I was going to see it for the first time, I wore that robe and my Indian candelabra freshwater pearl earrings. Before my reconstruction, I had A- breasts. So I figured, as long as I was going to have reconstruction, go for it. When the plastic surgeon asked what size breasts I wanted, I said, Baywatch. And then we got into this negotiation because she said, you're too small to have such large breasts. How about a B? And I said, no, a C. And she said, okay, a B+. And I said, no, a C. But anyway, a few days before my reconstruction, my friend Meredith sent me this beautifully wrapped box, all pretty tissues and ribbon, and inside was a white lace bra with underwire. I had never worn a bra with underwire before. Until that point, I hadn't even thought of my breasts as anything more than a reconstructed mound. But when I was given that bra, I realized it was going to be a breast. in a demi-cup lace push-up bra. I didn't want a nipple on my new breast. The nipples they make are nice, they look totally natural. But I thought, if I get a nipple, whenever somebody sees my breast, all they'll see is that ugly mastectomy scar. Whereas if I get a tattoo instead of a nipple, they'll see the tattoo and laugh. I'm not sure exactly what people I was referring to, but nevertheless, that was my reasoning. So I started calling all these tattoo parlors and telling them what I wanted, and I found this guy who was so excited. His grandmother had had breast cancer, and he said, "I have to do this for you." I wanted my tattoo to be a heart with wings. In Spanish, the word for heart is corazón, and in French, it's cœur. So, the heart represents both love and courage. And I wanted it to have wings, to represent all my friends who had looked after me like angels. After my chemo, these two guys made me this really beautiful wig. I didn't want to wear it. Everybody at the office already knew I'd lost my hair. They'd seen it falling out. So instead, I wore baseball caps, backwards. I had a black suede one and a brown velour, but my crushed red velvet was my favorite. My Aunt Honey gave it to me. I kept all my hats, and I give them to other women to wear during their chemo. I always ask for them back so I can give them again. I like to think of them as magic hats, a good luck thing. You know, when you're diagnosed with breast cancer at 27, no one thinks you're going to live. But I did.
After I finished making all the drawings and writing all the bits and pieces that went with them, which took about a year, I made copies and put them into big red binders and gave them to all of my children and to my two best friends. I was so happy. You have no idea. This was the story of my life. My mother was in it, and my grandmother was in it, and my family was in it. It was as if they were still alive. They were acknowledged. Because when my sister dies, nobody but me will remember who they were. I was done. I managed to say all the things to your children you don't have time to say. I wanted them to know I wasn't always their mother. I was a girl. I had best friends. We did stupid things together. Once, me and Dora sat on a bus eating dog biscuits so people would look at us. I wanted them to know. Then, someone showed this book to a publisher. I thought, who would read this? It's too personal. As it turned out, it was personal to other people too.
It was a green plaid coat, and I caught it on a piece of barbed
Baby
wire.
blue wool tights that kept falling down.
Matching dresses with my sister for Easter Sunday. Bright blue dresses and smock pants.
Blue jeans, me, my best friend, embroidered
My
with
first
peace
cheerleading
signs.
outfit that said Colts right
Black
across the
cigarette
chest.
pants that I wore.
Cotton
one
candy
night.
pink silk shoes with bubblegum pink silk
My
roses
brother's
on
skirt.
toes.
My photo skirt.